Let's be real for a second. How many times have you looked back on a situation in life and thought, why didn't anyone tell me this sooner? Maybe it was a mistake you could have avoided, a decision you would have made differently, or a truth about life that only became clear after you had already suffered through the hard way. Life doesn't come with an instruction manual. You don't wake up one day with all the answers. Instead, we learn through experience. Sometimes painful, sometimes life-changing, and most of the time far too late. But today, we're changing that. I'm here to hand you 6 life lessons that most people only figure out when they're older, when they've lost opportunities, or when they've spent years living a version of life that doesn't truly make them happy. These aren't just generic motivational quotes. These are real, sometimes uncomfortable, hard truths that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. And before you sit there thinking, nah, I've got life figured out, let me tell you something. You don't. And that's okay, none of us do. Even the greatest philosophers in history, the Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, spent their entire lives questioning, learning, and refining their understanding of how to live wisely. And if some of the greatest minds in history never stopped learning, what makes us think we've got it all figured out? So, if you're willing to open your mind, take a step back, and absorb these lessons, I promise they'll change how you approach life. They might even save you years of frustration, wasted energy, and unnecessary suffering. Some of these will be tough to hear. Some will challenge what you believe. But all of them will help you live a better life, a more fulfilled life, a life without regret. Let's get into it. From the moment we enter the workforce, society drills one message into our heads. Your job is who you are. Think about it. What's the first question people ask when they meet you? So, what do you do? As if your value as a human being is neatly wrapped up in a job title. But here's the truth. Your job is what you do, not who you are. I used to believe that my career defined me. I had the job with the good salary, the respectable title, the kind of work that people nod approvingly, and when you mention it at a dinner party. And yet, despite all that, I was miserable. My identity was so tied to my job that even when I was unhappy, I felt like I had no choice but to stick with it. After all, if I walked away, who would I be without it? Eventually, I made a shift. I left behind that so-called prestigious career and moved into something less flashy, something most people wouldn't call impressive. And you know what? I was happier. My life felt lighter. My stress levels dropped. And I finally understood a lesson I wish I had learned sooner. Your job is just one part of your life. It's not the whole thing. The Stoic perspective: control what you can, accept what you can't. The Stoics had a principle that applies perfectly. Here, control what you can, accept what you can't. You may not have complete control over what job opportunities come your way, how the economy shifts, or even what career paths are available to you at a given moment. But you do have control over how much power you give your job over your identity and self-worth. So ask yourself, am I staying in this job because I truly love it? Or am I staying because I'm afraid to let go? If the only thing keeping you in your role is fear of losing status, fear of financial instability, fear of change, then it's time to reassess. Your career should be a tool that supports your life, not a prison that dictates it. How to reframe your identity the next time someone asks, "What do you do?" Try this. Instead of automatically answering with your job title, say, "I live life." Because at the end of the day, you are not your job. You are the experiences you create, the people you impact, and the way you choose to live. If your work aligns with your passions, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too, as long as you're not letting it define your entire existence. You are more than your paycheck, more than your LinkedIn bio, more than the title on your business card, and the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll start living life on your own terms. From a young age, we're taught, be nice and good things will come to you. It's a comforting thought, that if you treat people well, the universe will reward you. But here's the problem. Excessive kindness without boundaries doesn't make you respected. It makes you a target. I used to be that person, the one who never said no, never rocked the boat, always tried to accommodate others. I believed that if I was nice enough, people would appreciate me, respect me, and return the favor. Guess what actually happened? People took advantage. Colleagues dumped extra work on me because they knew I wouldn't push back. Friends leaned on me for favors without ever returning the effort. Even in relationships, I found myself bending over backward to keep the peace, at the expense of my own needs. And here's the kicker. Being overly nice didn't bring me happiness. It brought me stress, resentment, and exhaustion. The Stoic. Perspective. Strength with kindness. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." That doesn't mean we should become cruel or vengeful. It means we should set boundaries and refuse to let people walk all over us. It means choosing strength over passivity. Too often we mistake kindness for weakness, and we mistake assertiveness for cruelty. But being firm doesn't make you mean. It makes you wise. Kindness without self-respect is self-sabotage. Let me say it again. Kindness without self-respect is self-sabotage. If you constantly put others' needs above your own, you're sending a message. My time, my energy, my feelings don't matter as much as yours, and people will believe you. Kindness should be a choice, not an obligation. You don't owe anyone constant access to your time and energy just because you want to be liked. How to break the cycle. So, the next time you're about to say yes just to keep the peace, pause. Ask yourself, am I being kind or am I avoiding confrontation? Because if your kindness comes at the cost of your own peace, it's not kindness anymore. It's self-neglect. The key is balance. Be kind, but be firm. Be helpful, but have boundaries. Be understanding, but don't tolerate disrespect. Because at the end of the day, no one is handing out trophies for most likely to be taken advantage of. And if you don't respect your own time and energy, no one else will either. We've all heard the saying, love is all you need. It's the foundation of every fairy tale, every romantic movie, and every love song that tells us if you just love hard enough, everything will work out. But let me hit you with a truth that Hollywood doesn't tell you. Love isn't enough. Love without communication, trust, or shared goals is like duct tape on a sinking ship. Sure, it might hold things together for a little while, but eventually, the cracks will show, and everything will fall apart. I learned this the hard way. I was in a relationship where we truly loved each other. No question about that. We had the passion, the connection, and the kind of chemistry that makes you believe in fate. But there was a problem. We couldn't communicate. Every disagreement turned into an argument. We had different visions for our future. And instead of growing together, we were just holding on because of the feeling of love. I told myself, but we love each other. That has to count for something, right? Wrong. Love wasn't enough to fix our fundamental issues. And instead of walking away sooner, I wasted time trying to force something that just wasn't meant to work. The Stoic perspective. Time is too precious to waste on the wrong relationship. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Nowhere is this more true than in relationships. Staying in the wrong relationship is wasting time you could be using to build a healthier one, or to simply focus on yourself and your own growth. People stay in bad relationships because they're afraid of being alone, because they believe love will magically fix their problems, or because they don't want to admit that they've been holding on to something that isn't working. But here's the truth. You can love someone and still have to let them go. Love is the foundation, but it's not the whole house. A successful relationship isn't just about love. It's about trust, respect, communication, and shared goals. Trust means knowing you can rely on your partner, that they will show up for you when you need them. Respect is about feeling valued, heard, and supported. Communication is essential, because no relationship can survive if you can't talk about your problems without constant fights or avoidance. And shared goals ensure that you and your partner are headed in the same direction in life. If you don't have these things, love won't save you. It will only prolong the inevitable. When to walk away, if you're in a relationship where love is the only thing holding it together, ask yourself, are we actually happy or are we just comfortable? Are we growing together or are we just afraid to break apart? If nothing changed, would I still want to be here a year from now? Because love alone doesn't fix broken trust. It doesn't erase deep incompatibilities. And it doesn't guarantee a happy future. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is recognize that love isn't enough and walk away. Not because you didn't care, but because you respect yourself enough to want more. And trust me, when you do, you'll make room for, the kind of love that actually is enough. Time is the one thing you can never get back. You can earn more money, gain more experience, and rebuild lost opportunities. But once time is gone, it's gone forever. And yet, despite knowing this, we waste so much of it on excuses. How many times have you said, "I'll do it later," or "I'm too busy right now"? It feels harmless in the moment, but let's be real. How many of those laters ever actually happen? The brutal truth is that time keeps moving whether you're ready or not. It doesn't slow down for your fears, your doubts, or your hesitation. It doesn't pause while you procrastinate or wait for the perfect moment. Time moves forward, and if you don't move with it, you'll wake up one day realizing that months or even years have slipped away, and you're still in the same place. I know this because I've been there. I once had a project I was passionate about, something I really wanted to do, but every day I found an excuse. I need to research more. I'll start next month when things calm down. I'm too tired after work. Weeks turned to months, and guess how much progress I made? 0. I told myself I was waiting for the right time. But here's what I learned. The right time never comes. The Stoic perspective. Demand the best for yourself, Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once asked, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" That question hit me hard. How long was I going to keep making excuses? How long was I going to put off the things that actually mattered to me? Was I really going to sit around and let time make the decision for me? Because that's what happens. When you don't take action, time doesn't stop, and eventually the opportunities you keep delaying will disappear. The dream you keep pushing aside will remain just that, a dream. The biggest mistake, thinking you'll have more time. Later, one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is that we'll have more time in the future. We think, next year will be different. I'll start when I have more experience. I'll do it when I have more money, more energy, more confidence. But here's the reality. Time doesn't magically give you the perfect conditions to start. If you wait for life to hand you the ideal moment, you'll be waiting forever. Think about the people who regret never chasing their dreams, never traveling, never telling someone how they really felt. Their regret isn't about what they did, it's about what they didn't do. And in most cases, it wasn't because they couldn't do those things. It was because they kept waiting for a time that never came. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time, right now. If you're waiting for a sign, this is it. The best time to start was yesterday, but you can't go back. So the second best time, right now. No more later. No more waiting for the perfect moment. If something matters to you, whether it's a project, a goal, or a dream, start now. Even if it's messy. Even if you're not fully ready. Even if you don't know exactly what you're doing, because time doesn't care about your excuses. And the longer you wait, the more you'll realize that the only thing standing in your way was never time. It was you. We treat our bodies like they come with unlimited warranties. Junk food, no sleep, all stress, and an endless supply of caffeine to keep us going. We convince ourselves that we can function like this forever, pushing our physical limits in the name of productivity, success, and achievement. But here's the harsh truth. You can't cheat your body. I used to believe that I could run on hustle alone. I'd stay up late, skip meals, live off coffee, and tell myself that rest was for the weak. I thought I was being productive, grinding harder, getting more done, proving my dedication. But my body had other plans. One day, it just shut down. I felt drained, constantly exhausted, and unable to focus. My immune system weakened. My stress levels skyrocketed, and suddenly all the work I was so committed to didn't matter anymore because I physically couldn't keep up. That's when I learned the hard way. Your body will force you to rest if you don't give it rest. And by the time it does, it won't be on your terms. The Stoic perspective, mastering the mind-body connection. The Stoics believed in mastering both the mind and the body. They understood that if your body is weak and neglected, your mind will follow. Seneca once said, "The part can never be well unless the whole is well." Think about it. How can you take care of your ambitions, your work, your relationships, if your body is constantly running on empty? How can you chase your dreams when you're exhausted, sick, or mentally drained? A tired, unhealthy body leads to a tired, unmotivated life. And yet, in today's world, we glorify burnout culture. We celebrate those who sacrifice sleep, who skip meals to work more hours, who push themselves beyond their limits. We hear phrases like, "sleep when you're dead" and "hustle 24/7," as if ignoring your health is something to be proud of. Let me be clear. There is nothing admirable about destroying yourself for the sake of productivity. If you don't take care of yourself, you won't have the energy, the focus, or the strength to achieve anything meaningful. And if you push yourself too hard for too long, your body will remind you, violently, that it needs care. Small habits, big changes. The good news: you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. Small, consistent habits make the biggest difference. Get enough sleep. Your brain and body heal when you rest. Sleep is not a luxury. It's a necessity. Eat real food. You wouldn't put cheap fuel in a high-performance car, so why would you do that to your body? Move daily. You don't have to be a fitness freak, but movement keeps you strong, energized, and mentally sharp. Manage stress. Your body reacts to stress like it's a physical injury. If you don't handle it, it will handle you. Taking care of yourself is not about looking good or following trends. It's about respecting the fact that your body is the only place you will ever live. The harsh reality hustle culture tells you to grind now and rest later. But let me tell you something no one wants to hear. If you don't take care of your body, later might not come. If you ignore your health today, you'll pay for it tomorrow, with interest. And no amount of success, money, or work will matter if you're too sick or too exhausted to enjoy it. So, the next time you think about skipping sleep, pushing past your limits, or putting off your health for the sake of grinding harder, ask yourself, what's the point of success if I'm too burned out to experience it? Your body is your foundation. Take care of it, and everything else in your life will be stronger because of it. Regret is a strange thing. When we think about it, we often imagine regretting the things we did wrong, the bad decisions, the failed attempts, the embarrassing moments. But the truth is, the most painful regrets in life don't come from the things we tried and failed at. They come from the things we never tried at all, the opportunity we were too scared to take, the words we left unsaid, the dreams we talked ourselves out of. I learned this the hard way. There was a time when I was offered an incredible opportunity, one that could have changed my life. But instead of jumping on it, I hesitated. I overthought it. I doubted myself. And by the time I finally worked up the courage, the opportunity was gone. At the time, I convinced myself it wasn't a big deal. But years later, I still think about, not because I failed, but because I never even gave myself the chance to try. And that kind of regret stings far more than failure ever could. The Stoic perspective, memento mori, remember you will die. The Stoics had a powerful exercise called memento mori, which translates to, remember that you will die. Now, before you think this is some grim or depressing thought, hear me out. The purpose of memento mori isn't to dwell on death. It's to remind yourself that time is limited, that fear is temporary, but regret is forever. That every single day you wake up is a gift, and one day you won't wake up at all. People who play it safe don't live with peace. They live with what if. What if I had taken that risk? What if I had chased that dream? What if I had spoken up instead of staying silent? The worst part? You can never go back and change the things you didn't do. The only thing you can do is make sure you don't keep adding more regrets to the list. Want to avoid regret? Do the thing. Here's the secret to living without regret. Take the risk. Make the move. Do the thing. If there's something you've been putting off because you're scared, because you feel unprepared, or because you're waiting for the perfect moment, stop waiting. The perfect moment doesn't exist, and at the end of your life, you won't remember the times you played it safe. You won't reminisce about the moments where you hesitated and let fear hold you back. You will remember the leaps you took, the chances you embraced, and the experiences you allowed yourself to have. Failure is temporary. Fear is temporary. But regret? Regret is permanent. So the next time you're standing at the edge of a decision, scared of taking that leap, ask yourself, if I don't do this, will I regret it later? And if the answer is yes, then you already know what you need to do. Conclusion. Live without regrets. Life doesn't come with guarantees. There's no roadmap, no manual, no magic formula that ensures everything will work out perfectly. We don't get unlimited chances to fix our mistakes, and we can't rewind time to make better choices. But the one thing we do control, how we choose to live right now. Every single day, you have a choice to keep making the same excuses, to keep delaying what matters, to stay stuck in a job, a relationship, or a mindset that no longer serves you. Or you can take action. You can set boundaries, chase your goals, and start living in a way that your future self will thank you for. The Stoics understood this deeply. They didn't waste time wishing things were different. They focused on what they could control, their actions, their mindset, their discipline, and they lived knowing that tomorrow is never promised. So here's your final Stoic reminder. The best time to change was yesterday. The second best time, right now. No more waiting, no more wishing, no more, I'll do it later. Because if you don't take control of your life, time will make the decision for you. So go out there and live boldly, take the risks, make the moves, set the boundaries, walk away from what's not serving you, because your future self is counting on you. If this video made you think or made you laugh, hit that like button. Share it with someone who needs a wake-up call. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, life lessons, and motivation to help you take control of your life. Now, no more excuses, no more delays. Go live your best life.